What's
What's
up,
up,
world?
world?
What it do?
What it do? Back
We
again.
want to talk to you all about unconditional love. The only real love there is
Yes.
is unconditional.
That's facts.
And unfortunately, in life, we tend to learn conditional love. We tend to learn these certain boundaries in relationships and certain conditions in relationships, and we tend to abide by them, and we get lost in them and fail to realize that that's not love at all, and that we have to be less conditional. Less conditional with our relationships, you know. So how do we do that? What does unconditional love even mean, you know?
So for me, unconditional love means loving with no conditions. You know what I mean? Like, and
that's the hardest thing to do.
and it is
Or the
because
easiest.
we all come in, every individual comes in with their own condition. You know, whether you see it as your astrology or like whatever, we all have these programs on us that make our expression the way that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Why I'm like me and why she's like her. And it's like sometimes we want people to act the way that we would. We want people to act in the way that we deem best through our own conditioning and our own perception.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not unconditional love. Like, that's not
real.
God. Unconditional love is to see life through God's eyes, to see somebody through purity no matter what they're doing. Like, I'm going to continue to love, nurture no matter what she does in her journey or her experience. I have to respect her as a piece of God here on earth, experiencing her own journey. You know what I mean? And I can't say that you have to act like this. Here's a condition. You must love me this way for me to love you. No, that's conditional love. That makes no sense. But I'm not telling you to be abused. I'm not telling you to stay in relationships that don't satisfy you. But I'm just telling you that your love cannot be based on any conditions. You can't allow that programming to turn you away from what's real. Maybe you and somebody not supposed to be together forever, but it don't mean that when you think of that person that it should be hating your heart, that it should be some type of malice. Like, you got to give people grace and love.
Mm-hmm. And just, so give them real love, which is without condition. And it makes us closer when we're able to do that. But very early on in our childhoods, we learn of conditional love, you know, through our parents, through their parents, through our lives. You know, we're learning from people that I will love you if you act in this way. I will love you if you do what I say. I will love you, you know, in these certain limitations, really. And it keeps us from being free. It keeps our relationships from being free and really being of true love and freedom and making us safe, because a lot of times maybe we're not telling each other certain things in relationships because we don't know if they'll love us afterwards. We don't know what they'll take away, what kind of love they'll take from us. Like, even a parent, like, if we do certain things with our parents, like, they're going to take things from us. And in a way, we see this as a love that's conditional. So then we won't tell them certain things because we don't feel like, if I tell you this, will you still love me? If I tell you that I'm gay, will you still love me? If I tell you that I want to be a stripper, will you still love me? You know, and it's like, don't be conditional with your love. Like, let your relationships be free. Let your children, your husbands, your wives be free so that they can feel safe with you, so you can feel safe with them, so you know that there's nothing, any space between you, any condition that might break you guys, that might break your love. And that's any love that could be broken is not real love. So it's like really getting back to the essence of what love is and how we want ourselves to be loved, because we want ourselves to be able to tell each other everything and to be honest and open. And I want you to love me regardless of what happens or what I do or what I think. And we should feel safe with knowing that our parents, our relationships, our friendships, you know, will give us that grace, you know. And even strangers, like, you just want to give them that same love. Like, remember that they're you. Remember that your parent is you, your child is you, your relationship is you. And like, just give them that unconditional love. If a stranger came up and said, hey, I'm gay as hell, you probably wouldn't give a goddamn shit, because we don't have certain expectations in our relationships for a stranger. But for our relationships, for our parents, for our children, we have these certain expectations, which is a condition, a limit, that it doesn't allow freeness in the relation. It doesn't allow freeness in our connection. And it's a blockage. It's a blockage that keeps us from being close
Within yourself, for real. Like, it's been so many times when I might have been afraid to express a truth to nurture based on what I thought the outcome would be. Some fear of, like, punishment, making her my authority figure, thinking that our love was based on conditions. But maybe it was the conditions I had for myself, the conditions I had for the expectation of what I view relationships as, and all of that played a big role into how I was viewing her and how she was viewing me. And at the end of the day, like, once I got honest within myself and like let go of that fear, I was able to be very honest with Nurture about how I felt, and it was scary. Like, sometimes I couldn't even verbalize it through my throat chakra. I have to write shit down, and like, I'm a Pisces, that's the way I be working sometimes. But what I saw through that though was like, I was so scared, y'all, to like tell Nurture how I felt, and then once I told Nurture how I felt, like, she accepted me. She continued to loved me even more. You know what I'm saying? Without conditions. And like, that right there, that broke my heart open. That made me love her more. It made me love myself more, you know, because it was like I was honest and I felt safe within my honesty. And this the craziest thing. Like, we be with people all the time, all day, our friends, our family, our relationships, but yeah, we don't feel safe. Like, wholly safe. Like, you might have one or two people you could be your whole self with, but like, you got to be your whole self with everybody. Like, she made me feel safe now. Like, I could do anything, say anything, and I'm good because it's unconditional. You know what I mean?
It's a real love you feel, you know? Just that freedom, you know?
Yeah.
Just that freedom. That's all. Giving each other that
But it
freedom.
took a while though, because you got to feel safe within yourself.
That's really what
like,
it is.
before you get the one in the outside world to give you grace and like forgiveness and acceptance, like, you must accept yourself. You must love yourself, you know what I mean? And then that can only ripple out into your external world. You can only start to attract the witnesses that attest and believe what you believe. You know?
And I think it's because, like, we all have our own condition of love, like you said earlier. Like, we all have been conditioned to like to be loved in a certain way. Like, we have our way of being, loving. And a lot of times, like you say, when we get with others, no matter who they are, it's like we want them to be who we are, but we're attracted to them because they're different from us. So it's also like accepting the fact that you're attracted to this person because of who they are, and you want to be a little bit more of that. And maybe they want to be a little bit more of you, and it's more so about allowing that freedom and not forcing or pushing your energy onto one another, but instead like coming together and just being and mending together and learning each other's love, and not expecting the love that you've been conditioned to have, not expecting that from that person, but just being that condition of your love, and giving that unconditionally, giving that no matter if it's received, no matter if it's maybe repelled, you know, but just being that condition of love, and allowing others to be the same, and not expecting them to love a certain way. Like, if you love rough, if you got tough love, that's what it is, you know. But then I'm sure you'll attract somebody that has a balance of that, and it's just like really allowing each other to be free in that love, and it's all one. It's all one, no matter what form it looks like, what form it's taking. It's all love. So remembering that as well, like, as long as unconditional, as long as there's no judgment, no expectations for the person that you are in love with, you know, because that's yourself. And it's beautiful to see yourself in so many expressions, in so many different forms and languages of love, you know, and it's a beautiful witness. So just allow it, accept it more.
And you'll come to find out that the conditional love is what's distorting us. The conditional love is what's like having people acting so weird within these relationships that create these situations and circumstances that really stem from a shadow state. A shadow state of mind, like a lower frequency of like thought. And it's happening because we condition each other. The moment you let your man be free, the moment you let your woman be free, you're going to realize that they're God. And you're going to start to see this beautiful expression come through them because they're free. And when they're free, there's nothing, it's like unimpeded God just flowing into the world. There's no filter there. There's no condition that's blocking God from manifesting and shining out through that vessel. So it's like, you want to see your loved ones shine as brightly as they can. But to do that, they got to feel safe. To do that, they can't feel these blockages everywhere they turn. Like, you know, like a child and like a parent. Like, a child might be going through something in their teenage years, but they might not feel safe with their parents to tell them, like, hey, I just smoked weed yesterday, or hey, I'm thinking about doing this with a girl or boy. Like, you have to like not have so many conditions around your relationships if you want them to be open. This is just word to everybody. Like, no matter how you're feeling, like, be open. Like, be open to yourself. Like, remember all the experiences and thoughts and desires that you have.
It's gonna change.
Yeah, for real.
feel like that's all it is. Being open to change. Because the condition does set just a limit. You know, it just sets a limit. And this world is limitless, you know.
Infinite.
If you make it that way, you know. And the more you make it limitless, like you say, the more free you are in your relationships and within yourself, the less pressure you feel. You know, the less pressure there is, the less heaviness there is between your relationships. Like at first, it's like it could be. If you're living out of condition, it can be hard to communicate with one another because you're speaking two different forms of and two different languages of love. But it's like if y'all go deeper and understand like this is just a free sale, you know, then yeah, it just gets a lot easier. It's a lot easier to be loved and to love.
Hey, but I'm not saying that this is easy. You know, it's simple. But it's not always easy. Unconditional love is like the key to it all. Like unconditional love like breaks us out of hell. It shatters our whole illusion. It shatters the illusion of separation and makes us whole. Like it's a big one.
Yes, it is.
Unconditional love. Like
it unlocks everything.
Especially when the conditions get rough. Like not just when the sun shine and it's easy to I love you, baby. But what happens when it rains and the storms and all these things come? Like that's when you gotta be unconditional love. When your partner starts going through their own shit, they you know they healing their own wounds and all these things start coming up. These experiences, these things. It's like, can you still be there with them? Can you still love them unconditionally?
Yeah.
Do we run away or like do we face ourselves? Because you got to remember that person that's sitting right next to you is you. So every time you run from you, every time you choose not to love another, you're doing that to yourself. And in fact, like you think the outside is real, but if I give hate, it's gonna bounce off of reality and come right back to me, and it's coming instantaneously. The same thing with love, but love's even more powerful. So you just keep giving love out to the world. Love, love, love. It's gonna keep coming back through your relationships, through your thoughts. Through your abundance, all of it.
Because unconditional love, really, truly, if you tap into that, it unlocks everything. It'll release you from your beliefs. It'll release you from your judgment. And we can do this usually daily with a stranger, but it's like harder for the ones we're close with because we think we know who they are, but they could change it any day. Just like us, we can change at any moment. And it's like allowing that openness and that freeness for that thing to change and transform in ourselves as well. Like giving that grace, giving no judgment to yourself, sticking no belief to yourself as if this is just who we're supposed to be because we're in this physical, this condition, this woman, this man, this condition, you know? And it's just like we're so beyond these beliefs, this judgment, this constriction that we put on each other and ourselves, you know? And we make ourselves hide in these caves because we're afraid to like just be our unconditional self and allow others to do the same. And it's like, it's the hardest because usually if you're not able to do that with others, it's because you're not doing it with yourself. The moment you allow yourself to be free, like literally, I don't give a fuck. I would rather have less stress and less pressure. And it's like, literally, it's just releasing yourself of all of that. And it feels so much lighter to love unconditionally. It feels so much lighter to accept, you know, whatever comes, whatever change happens, because that's the only thing you can expect in life is change. So just be ready to be unconditional with it, you know, be ready to drop all of this, you know, for the essence of love, you know, for the essence of what's real, you know, and yeah, that's it.
And the only thing constant here on this earth, like she said, is change. So if change is the only constant thing, then we can't be putting up these boundaries, these beliefs, and these conditions that are going to try to lock us in, trying to fix us into a certain thing when everything's designed to change. That'll be going against yourself, going against the flow. Now, what does resistance cause? Pressure, stress, disease, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like if you were ready to go right but life sent you left, you have to have an open heart with no condition,
Go with the flow.
no fixed beliefs, and going with the flow. And that's everything. If you got an idea, if you had an idea of like your child and what your child should be and how your child should look, it's like at the end of the day you have to accept that they're their own person with their own programming, and they want to express God in the way that they want to express God, you know?
And we're written, you know what I mean? Understanding too, like trusting the unknown, trusting the higher power that actually sends these changes to us, that puts these these feelings in us that help us to change, that help us to transform, that puts this energy into us, you know. And it's like really accepting that, never thinking that if somebody's telling you something, that it's not literally from spirit, literally a message for you to accept. And no matter how hard it is, you can kick and scream, you know, but you can also like take that breath and give unconditional love and move on so much quicker without chaos, without, you know, the drama of what change can bring. You know, it can be chaos or it could just be change, you know. And it's just like we know that change is a part of our lives. It's who we are, you know. And so accepting ourselves, accepting who we truly are, you know, a spirit that always transforms, always changes, and like trusting whatever the outside figures are telling you, you know. Following your own intuition.
Yes. Follow your own heart. Be the change that you wish to see. You want to experience more unconditional love, be more unconditional in the way you're giving it.
Yep. And that don't mean like everybody has learned this lesson. And just because you're practicing unconditional love, like you will receive that, you know. But the more you practice it, the more you're applying that, the more it will be completely your reality. Like us. It took a long time, you know, before, you know, we felt supported and we're given the unconditional love that we put out into the world. But it's worth it because you will see your reality transform. You will see those people who maybe once were very conditional with you become unconditional, you know. And through that comes forgiveness. Through that comes everything. Just comes wholeness in itself, you know.
Yeah.
So giving that grace, being patient with unconditional love, you know.
Yes.
Because even if you're open, that doesn't mean, like I said, it will be given to you as well. But like, you know, you're connected to all. You're connected to all things, you know. And as much as we can look externally for that feeling, it's like it's right here, always, you know. And so it's our turn to remind people that unconditional love does exist, and we do remember what that feels like, and it is the most freest form of love, you know.
And as you start to heal on your own journey, and as you start to apply this unconditional love, be gentle and generous with other people who may not be displaying the same amount of unconditional love. Like, think back to the time when you didn't give it, you know, and then give compassion for that person instead of judgment. Like, it's always like that when we grow and we start to wake up and we start to, like, judge people that are living the way that we used to live. But it's like, why are you judging yourself? That's yourself. Like, just keep healing. Just keep on moving forward with no thoughts of like what's happening over there. Like, don't give no condition to that. Everything that's happening is perfect. Like, that's unconditional love in itself. Trusting that everything is perfect. Like, for real. Just keep following your heart.
Love is a beautiful thing. And through unconditional love, like, everybody around you will feel it. Your family will grow closer. Your relationship will be closer. You know, your relationship with yourself will be whole. It will feel real, you know. And that's the only thing you can really count on, is holding that love within yourself, because that's what will always be with you. Always.
Be free, y'all. No conditions for your own life. Be free. There's no one out there judging you but you. Whatever you want to experience here on earth, you are free to do it. I grant you that. The universe grants you that. Live your life. Take a deep breath. Do what you want to do. Be who you want to be. It's waiting for you.
Everybody's waiting to support you and to accept you and to love you.
Yes.
It's really just up to us to get it.
But thank y'all for being a part of this video. You know, you can see more on our Patreon, Holy Haven, YouTube, Holy Haven, Instagram, Holy Haven. Check us out. Jungle Retreats always.
That's our world.
That's all world.
Your greatness is all aligned. I want your body and spirit. We laying down the mind. Cause it's who we are. Love this, who we are.